Steve Jobs was no ordinary entrepreneur. He was a visionary, a dreamer, and a relentless innovator who dared to challenge the status quo at every turn. His story is not just about building a company, it's about changing the world, one idea at a time. Jobs' journey is a testament to the power of passion, perseverance, and the courage to think differently, even when the odds are stacked against you. Born in San Francisco in 1955, Jobs was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs, a loving couple who nurtured his curiosity and creativity. From a young age, Steve was fascinated by how things worked. He spent countless hours in his dad's garage, surrounded by tools, wires, and circuit boards, taking apart radios and televisions just to see if he could put them back together. It was here, in this humble garage, that the seeds of his future genius were planted. That's where he caught the bug for design and electronics, a spark that would ignite a revolution. Steve's early experiments weren't just about fixing things, they were about understanding the beauty of simplicity and the elegance of function. He learned that great design wasn't just about how something looked, but how it worked, and how it made people feel. But here's the twist: Jobs wasn't your straight-A student. In fact, he often found school boring and uninspiring. He was restless, always questioning, always searching for something more meaningful than what textbooks could offer. He didn't fit the mold and never tried to. While others followed the rules, Steve challenged them. He was known for his rebellious spirit, his independent thinking, and his refusal to settle for mediocrity. Even as a teenager, he was determined to carve his own path, no matter how unconventional it seemed. He dropped out of college after just 6 months. For most people, dropping out would be a setback, a sign of failure, but for Jobs, it was the beginning of something extraordinary. He realized that true learning happens when you follow your curiosity, not just a curriculum. To most people, that sounds like failure, right? Friends and family worried about his future. Teachers shook their heads, but Steve saw opportunity where others saw risk. He wasn't afraid to walk away from the safe path, even if it meant facing uncertainty and criticism. But for Jobs, it was freedom. Free from the constraints of required classes, he could explore what truly fascinated him. He wandered the campus, slept on friends' floors, and collected soda bottles for spare change. Yet, he felt more alive and inspired than ever before. He started attending only the classes that fascinated him, like calligraphy. This wasn't a practical choice, but it was a passionate one. Jobs was captivated by the artistry of letter forms, the subtlety of spacing, and the beauty of typography. He had no idea how this would shape his future, but he trusted his instincts. At the time, it seemed pointless. Why study calligraphy when you're not even sure what you want to do with your life? But Jobs believed that following your curiosity, even when it doesn't make sense, can lead to unexpected breakthroughs. Later, it inspired the clean, beautiful look of Apple computers. The elegant fonts, the attention to detail, the seamless user experience, all of it traced back to those seemingly random classes. Jobs' obsession with design set Apple apart from every other tech company. As Jobs said, you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backward. Every experience, every detour, every failure, each one became a vital piece of his story. It's a reminder that sometimes the things that seem insignificant in the moment can become the foundation of your greatest achievements. Then came the garage startup with Steve Wozniak Apple. Two friends, a vision and a dream to make technology accessible to everyone. They worked day and night, fueled by passion and a belief that they could change the world from a tiny garage in Silicon Valley. Their mission? Make computers personal, simple, beautiful. They wanted to put the power of technology into the hands of ordinary people, not just scientists and engineers. The Apple I and Apple II were more than machines, they were symbols of possibility. By age 25, Jobs was a millionaire. But the money wasn't what drove him. It was the thrill of creation, the joy of building something meaningful, and the excitement of seeing his ideas come to life. Apple was booming, but success brought its own challenges. The company grew rapidly, and with growth came pressure, competition, and conflict. Jobs' perfectionism and intensity sometimes clashed with others, but he refused to compromise on his vision. He clashed with Apple's board and at just 30 was fired from his own company. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into something only to be pushed out. It was a devastating blow, one that would have crushed most people. Imagine that, losing everything you built. The world watched as Jobs walked away from Apple, uncertain of what would come next, but deep down, he knew that failure wasn't the end of his story. But Jobs didn't give up. Instead, he used the setback as fuel. He embraced the pain, learned from his mistakes, and set out to prove that he could rise again. Sometimes, life's greatest challenges are the very things that push us to grow. He called it awful-tasting medicine, but it set him free to create again. Jobs realized that being fired from Apple was a gift in disguise. It gave him the freedom to experiment, to take risks, and to rediscover his love for innovation. He founded NeXT, a company focused on building powerful computers for education and business. At the same time, he bought a small animation studio called Pixar, betting on the future of digital storytelling. These bold moves would change not only his life, but the entire tech and entertainment industries. Against all odds, Pixar made Toy Story, the first fully computer-animated film. It was a groundbreaking achievement that revolutionized animation and proved that technology and creativity could work hand in hand. Pixar's success was a testament to Jobs' belief in the power of imagination. Meanwhile, Apple was in trouble. The company that Jobs had started was struggling, losing its edge, and facing an uncertain future. The world wondered if Apple could survive without its visionary founder. In a wild twist, they bought NeXT and brought Jobs back. It was a dramatic homecoming, one that would set the stage for Apple's greatest comeback. Jobs returned with new ideas, hard-earned wisdom, and a renewed sense of purpose. Older, wiser, but just as hungry, he transformed Apple from the iMac to the iPod, the iPhone to the iPad. He led a revolution that changed how we live, work, and connect. Each product was more than a gadget. It was a statement about what technology could be: intuitive, beautiful, and empowering. But more than the gadgets, Jobs' real message was about belief. Believing in yourself, in your passion, in the power of seeing things differently. He inspired millions to trust their instincts, to embrace their uniqueness, and to never settle for less than greatness. He said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." These words became a rallying cry for dreamers everywhere, a reminder that the journey is just as important as the destination. When life pushes you down, remember failure isn't the end, it's often the beginning. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Jobs' story proves that resilience, grit, and a willingness to start over are the keys to lasting success. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and so are legends. The challenges you face today could be shaping you into the person you're meant to become. Embrace the struggle, trust the process, and keep moving forward. If Jobs' journey inspired you, smash that like button, share your favorite lesson in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that light your fire. Let's build a community of dreamers, doers, and believers, people who aren't afraid to chase their wildest ambitions. Your diamond mindset starts now. Remember, greatness isn't reserved for the chosen few, it's within reach for anyone willing to think differently, work hard, and never give up. The next chapter of innovation could start with you.